Why does it smell of smoked sausage in there? Well, anyways, I am your cousin Bobby, and tonight we'll be switching things up here a bit by showing the classic comedy, His Girl Friday. Now, I know we're a horror show, but sometimes we need to set aside the spooks and chills and just have a good hearty laugh. You know, the world is in such a scary place right now, and sometimes we just need to let go and enjoy the small amount of time we occupy this plane of existence. Also, this movie is in the public domain, so showing it doesn't cut into my pay. Directed by Howard Hawks and based off the stage play The Front Page, His Girl Friday is about a reporter, played by Rosalind Russell, who returns to her paper in order to tell her ex-husband/boss that she is engaged and to be wed the next day. Her ex, played by Cary Grant, decides to delay her by having her interview a cop killer who is set to be hanged the next morning. You know, a light-hearted plot. Born May 30th, 1896, in Goshen, Indiana, Howard Hawks is one of the greatest American film directors of all time. Unlike other great directors, he doesn't have a particularly notable visual style, preferring subtle and unobtrusive camera movements and edits. What he is known for is a certain kind of character, a working person who takes a lot of pride in getting a job done. We see that here in the two main characters, Hildy Johnson and Walter Burns, doing whatever it takes to get a good story told. Hawks is also known for films with great dialogue. His films featured overlapping dialogue, a technique used to great effect in this movie.
Oh, Walter, you're wonderful in a loathsome sort of way. Now, will you please be quiet just long enough for me to tell you what I came up here to say? I have a lunch date already. I cannot break it. Will you take your hands off me? What are you playing, osteopath?
Temper.
Oh, listen, Walter. You are no longer my husband and no longer my boss.
Perhaps not surprisingly, he is cited as an influence on directors like Robert Altman and Quentin Tarantino. All you horror hounds out there are probably aware that John Carpenter also cites him as an influence, having used Hawks' Rio Bravo as a heavy influence on Assault on Precinct 13 and having remade the Hawks-produced The Thing from Another World as The Thing. Now, this film may co-star Cary Grant, but it truly belongs to Rosalind Russell. She is the center of this film, and everyone else orbits around her in deliciously screwy ways. She typifies what is known as the Hawksian woman, a woman who is a fast talker and defies female stereotypes of the time. She was actually well known for playing this kind of woman throughout her career, including 1939's The Women and as the titular character in Auntie Mame, both the stage and film versions. So prepare yourselves by grabbing a roast beef sandwich and a cigarette and try to keep up with the dialogue. It's time for His Girl Friday.
boy.
Right.
Thank you. You can. Take it, Snappy, and hurry back.
Where's the rest of this story?
You know, Hildy, he's not such a bad fellow.
No, he should make some girl real happy.
Hmm?
Slap happy.
He's not the man for you, I can see that, but I sort of like him. He's got a lot of charm.
Well, he comes by it naturally. His grandfather was a snake.
Do I need to talk about Cary Grant? Born Archibald Leach on January 18th, 1904, he is easily one of the best and most popular stars of all time. Make note of his real name. That'll come into play later. So instead of going on and on about his roles in movies like Bringing Up Baby, The Philadelphia Story, and North by Northwest, let's talk about his LSD use. He reportedly used the drug in over 100 therapy sessions and said that for the first time in his life, he was truly, deeply, and honestly happy. After this commercial break, we'll come back to His Girl Friday, starring noted hippie Cary Grant, right here on B-Movie Mayhem with Cousin Bobby. You might be able to tell it through their great chemistry, but Grant and Russell were actually good friends in real life. In fact, Grant introduced Russell to her husband, Frederick Brisson, and was the best man at their wedding. Now back to His Girl Friday.
He's not the man for you, I can see that, but I sort of like him. He's got a lot of charm.
Well, he comes by it naturally. His grandfather was a snake.
Hello? Hello? Hey, Duffy, listen. Is there any way we can stop the 4 o'clock train to Albany from leaving town?
And another thing I want... Oh. Where is my... Oh, there it is.
This movie gets so crazy and has me so hyped. We'll be right back. Okay, just stay there. I'll help you out of this mess. Oh, welcome back. Everything is fine here. I'm certainly not hiding a masked maniac in this desk. Let's go back to His Girl Friday here on B-Movie Mayhem.
Where is my... Oh, there it is.
Hello, Doctor. Sorry to be late.
Well, that's quite all right.
These boys from the newspapers, they take up so much of my time. You know, they wanted me to hang Williams at their convenience. Oh, hello, Al.
These newspapers, what they did to me in Chicago.
I can quite believe it.
Always after me for interviews.
Yes, me too.
Of course, I did rather promise to make them some sort of statement when I finished here. You don't mind, do you?
This movie sure is fast-paced, huh? In fact, the dialogue at its fastest moves about 200 to 300 words per minute, the latter of which is twice the speed that people talk in real life. Hawks actually set up a screening of this film side by side with its predecessor, 1931's adaptation of The Front Page. He did that to prove that this film contained the fastest dialogue on screen. We'll be right back to B-Movie Mayhem with Cousin Bobby. Cleveland! Things have reached a fever pitch as everything begins to come to a head in the press room. We are due for a totally chaotic conclusion. I don't even know how you can even think of sleeping right now. Back to His Girl Friday.
Somebody. She's dead.
No, she isn't killed. She's moving.
Darling, did you see that?
Where is he?
She jumped out the window.
I know that. Where is
With Earl Williams getting his reprieve and Hildy and Walter falling back into their old routine, it's time for the Bobby Score. We have a half star for Cary Grant's line, "Get back in there, you mock turtle," which is not only a great line, but also a possible reference to Cary Grant's role in the 1933 adaptation of Alice in Wonderland. 1 star for a great gag involving production for use. A big thanks to Comrade Hawks. 1 star for madcap and speedy dialogue, ensuring most of us would miss a good chunk of the jokes and therefore have something to look forward to upon revisiting it. And 2 stars for Rosalind Russell grabbing this movie by the throat and making it her own. That's a total of 4.5 stars. Cousin Bobby says watch this comedy classic. Hopefully you don't shoot somebody afterwards. We close today, as always, with this metal moment. You're probably wondering what exactly is so metal about this movie. And on the surface, not much. But there is a dark and jaded underbelly. Think of the reporter's reaction to Molly Malloy's suicide attempt. Earlier, they care very little for what she has to say. But when she says that she knows where Williams is and then adds an even more sensationalist angle to the story by jumping out the window, well, then they care very much about her and what she has to say. Also, think on the movie's view of state-endorsed authority. The mayor and sheriff are both inept and brutally crooked, to the point where they're willing to let a man die so they can save their own political careers. Like I said earlier, light-hearted comedy. Well, that's all we have for tonight. You can email us at cousinbobby216@gmail.com. Also, be sure to follow me on Facebook and Twitter. A huge thanks to my production partner, Pat Longbreak, the entire crew here at TV20, and our graphic designer, Jeff Agneberg. Oh God, I forgot he was there. Oh, I hope the poor little guy was able to breathe. Good thing I looked before leaving for the night. Sleep tight and sweet dreams, Cleveland.